Man, after all this time, I still can't get the stupid loop drawing right in order to capture Pokemon. I just want to be the very best like no one ever was, even though this video game series has absolutely nothing to do with the mainline anime. Oh, hey there everyone. Welcome back, Nostalgics. This is the first proper review I've done on the channel in some time, and today's review, guys, is actually going to consist of ending off a trilogy of videos that I really should have finished a long time ago now, but today, guys, we're going to be covering the third and final entry in the Pokemon Ranger series, specifically speaking toward Pokemon Shadows of Almia. Damn it. Specifically, Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs. As some of you long-term viewers of the channel might note, I absolutely love the Pokemon Ranger series. It is a fantastic series, a very underrated one that I wish Nintendo would have continued, but alas, since the 2010 title Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs, again the game we're going to be reviewing for today, there has not been any word on any Pokemon Ranger sequels, nor is there any other real availability for this series outside of the Nintendo DS and online Nintendo services. That being said, though, today I want to conclude this series that we've been doing and give this video a proper introduction, explaining to you why I love Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs so much. Now, some things about the game I don't really care for as much, but up front, this is my second favorite game out of the original 3 Pokemon Ranger games, and I hope that with this video I can at least convey my thoughts toward the game as a whole, and tell you guys why this is one you should definitely check out. Of course, though, as usual, any gameplay footage used in this video will be linked in the description down below. Please go and check out the original source and support them that way. Thank you so much, guys, and let's get into the review. Right off the bat, guys, a few things that I just want to get out of the way for the game that has been a common theme in both my previous 2 reviews of the original Pokemon Ranger and Shadows of Almia. This game looks incredible on the Nintendo DS. I absolutely love the visuals. For it being a handheld system, the pixel art and the sprite work of all the characters looks fantastic. The look of the Pokemon look great. The looping animations when you're capturing them. The great animation, by the way, in this game, too, I think is better than Shadows of Almia. The animation, because you're a flying ranger in this game. You are going to be flying around the Oblivia region a ton, which is the region in this game. And a really unique feature of it, too. The speed up feature looks great. The Pokemon designs when you're in midair look great. The fortress area that you encounter later on when you take on the main bad guys are just... it looks so detailed for a portable system. I will give Game Freak and Nintendo one thing, despite the fact they aren't continuing the series anymore. This game visually looks incredible. There is no doubt about that in my mind. And the music, although the Pokemon Ranger series is not one of my favorite video game soundtracks really at all, I will say this. The orchestral theme, the main theme song of the Pokemon Ranger series, the atmospheric tropical vibes they have in certain areas, the main bad guy theme with the Pokemon Pinchers, who are the bad guys in this game. The music in this game is very, very good. Like I said, not one of my favorite game soundtracks or anything, but the music is just incredible. Now, with that in mind, though, guys, visuals and music are very common themes that this series does well, so there's not really much for me to critique, or frankly, I have just nothing but praise for it. It's fantastic. One thing I will say, though, is for the base gameplay, as Pokemon Ranger series is known for those of you who don't know the base gameplay of it, allow me to explain. The base gameplay of the Pokemon Ranger series is its own version of the capturing mechanics from the mainline Pokemon games that I'm sure many of you have played at this point. In this game, you use your Nintendo DS styler and draw loops around Pokemon to convey feelings of friendship in order to build up a gauge at the top of the screen. Once the gauge is completely full, you capture the Pokemon, and you can hold up to 6 Pokemon total in your party. Now, these Pokemon you're not going to be keeping for long periods of the game. You're going to be using them to clear out obstacles because, you know, certain powers and types are required to be used for certain obstacles, so you're going to be capturing specific Pokemon that way. So you use for clearing obstacles. You can use these Pokemon abilities and powers to aid in other captures, such as using their abilities to fill up that gauge by letting their moves hit the Pokemon, where they're called Pokemon assists in the game as well. So you're going to be using them to aid yourself in future captures. You're going to be using them to clear obstacles in the overworld outside of captures, and you're also going to be taking on boss Pokemon too. Like, there's many different boss fights in this game. You're going to be taking on legendary Pokemon and whatnot, not uncommon to the other games in the series. But there are some very cool and notable Pokemon you'll be capturing from the Pokemon Pinchers, and of course the main bad guys as well. So there's not really much for me to say. As I mentioned in the previous two reviews, this mechanic works really well. I mean, there's not really much for me to say about the base mechanics of Pokemon Ranger. It is pretty much the same at base level when it comes down to the features that are available in this game for just looping Pokemon. One thing I will say is, though, admittedly, don't press down your screens too hard if you end up playing this on Nintendo DS. It is a good way to damage it, especially if you're in a very hard boss fight. So it is one thing, I suppose, that isn't perfect about the capture mechanic, is the fact that it's all dependent on how well you can draw loops on your styler and how well you got to strategize working your way around your Pokemon's abilities. Because your styler, if you get hit, you know how like in the mainline games where your Pokemon gets hit and they lose HP? Whereas in this case, if your styler line, which can be upgraded through side quests and whatnot, if it gets hit by a Pokemon, your styler loses energy. If the energy gets completely depleted, then it's done. Your styler explodes and you are completely done for that battle. You lose, essentially. It's like losing all your Pokemon in a mainline Pokemon game. That's essentially what happens if your styler gets destroyed. So, but that's one thing I can safely say, is that the base mechanics of this game work fantastically. I mean, there's not really much for me to say about that one either. The main thing to focus on for this review that makes it unique, and this is the case, I think, for every Pokemon Ranger game, it's the story and the features that it presented to you, as well as the unique gameplay features and whatnot that this game has. And trust me, there's a lot, and it's one of this game's strong suits in both departments. If there's one thing I don't want to do, and I know that this isn't saying much for Pokemon, but when it comes to the story segment of Pokemon Ranger, these stories are a lot more detailed than your average Pokemon trainer game, whereas, you know, you go, you beat the gym leaders, you beat the Elite Four, you know, you take down whatever Pokemon Syndicate or gang are out there, and I know for generations like Gen 3, 4, 5, and so forth, since those generations, the mainline Pokemon series has been more prevalent when it comes to story. But Pokemon Ranger, from the very beginning, since its debut in the early 2000s. I believe 2004 the original game came out. And then Shadows of Volmia came out 2008, I believe. And then Pokemon Ranger Guardian Signs came out in 2010. These games have always been prevalent in the story. And to keep it simple, you are a top ranger, one of the top-ranked rangers in the world. And you're sent on a mission with your partner to go out to the Oblivia region to investigate why this group, known as the Pokemon Pinchers, are going out and stealing Pokemon from all over the region. Of course, at the very beginning of the game, you're blasted out of the sky by one of its top lieutenants known as Red Eyes, and you're separated from your partner who is captured by the Pokemon Pinchers, and your character ends up washing up on an island where you end up encountering your partner Pokemon known as Pichu. From there, you link up with some other residents of the nearby town, learn more about the Pokemon Pinchers, and through an effort to recover your partner, as well as figure out what the Pinchers' ultimate goal actually is, and who the secret bad guys are of the game, because they're not who you expect. They hint at this throughout the game. If you've played it, you understand. But that's essentially what all you're going to be doing, and this story is conveyed so well, because one thing that Guardian Signs does well in comparison to Shadows of Volmia, it has, in my opinion, a far more interesting and diverse cast. Your partner, for example, has a far more prevalent personality other than Keith from Shadows of Volmia. Is like, he was fine, but he has like that one-note rivalry personality. He didn't really do too much. Your partner is there for pretty much the entire game. They're by your side for most of the game, up until the final area of the story. They are so relevant to it. They have such a great personality regardless that it's really nice having a companion like that with you. You have other great people like Booker, the shipbuilder that you encounter right off the bat. He has a great personality, as well as his bumbling assistant, who he means well, and he's an aspiring shipbuilder. But, of course, you know, he's there for comedic relief. Speaking of comedic relief, Murph from the last game comes back. He is not just stationed in Almia this time. He has been sent to Oblivia by Professor Hastings, who appears a few times in this game, but not very much. Not as much as Shadows of Volmia at all. But Murph's there for the comedic relief for sure, and he's brilliant. I'm so glad they brought him back for this last installment. The characters in this game work really well, and the interesting lore and whatnot they build with the Oblivia region surrounding this legendary hero who is able to utilize the power of legendary Pokemon, which plays a huge theme into the bad guy's ultimate goal, as well as what your character is able to do, which I will get into for the new gameplay section of this video. But I'll say the story is fantastic. I mean, I don't really have this. The main critique that the story, again, maybe could be generalized, but the story in this game is amazing as well. There's really nothing wrong I have with the game. The critique I had for Shadows of Almia when I reviewed that game was the pacing. The story itself was fine, and for a Pokemon game, this is really saying something. But I didn't have much of a problem with the overall story of Almia. But the problem with it was the pacing. There were so many missions that felt like filler missions when you're on your way to a big objective and you have to do one or two other few-hour missions here and there in order to get to your main objective. It felt like padding and filler toward the end. Whereas in this game, not really. Every mission plays relevance to the story. It's fun. It's nice side content at different points that you have to get into. The story structure and the characters are phenomenal in this game. I love the plot. Not as much as the first game, which kept it, I think, the same level of quality, but simpler. But, my gosh, I'll say this, guys, Guardian Science has a great story. And, of course, with a great story, let's not compliment out the gameplay. You know, I know this is a pencil and all, but I feel like one of these days, guys, when I get proficient enough with it, this styler that, well, I dropped it, so I guess I'm no longer a ranger. But the main thing that complimented this game on as well would be the gameplay. Now, like I mentioned a little bit ago, the gameplay in this game is basically the same as the previous two entries, but the unique thing to discuss for this is the new mechanics that it brings to the gameplay, which in this case would be the sign system. So in this game as well, for the Pokemon, let's just start with the basic Pokemon assists. The Pokemon assists that you have, you can summon them out like normal, like the previous two games, and use them. But there are points in the game where you gain access to glyphs, which your styler records. With this, you're able, if you draw a sign on the screen with that feature, even if you don't have that Pokemon in your, let's say, your inventory or your party, you can bring that common day Pokemon to help you out with an assist. For example, I remember Bidoof, for example, has a specific sign. And if you use a sign, let's say you're in another area of the map, right? And you don't have Bidoof in your party. If you draw the sign, you can use Bidoof's Pokemon assist while you're in battle, capturing a Pokemon. It's a really cool mechanic. It ties in well with the lore and the story, which, again, I don't want to spoil because I really want you guys to play this. But the sign mechanic is a fantastic feature for Pokemon assists. But that is not the best part of the sign mechanic. In the overworld, there are going to be points where you're going to need to use Pokemon to get across terrain, such as smashing boulders, leaping great ravines, crossing rivers, that kind of thing. But what do? You don't have any Pokemon you can capture to use them. And the legendary Pokemon that you encounter in the game that would normally be boss fights and whatnot, they can't help you, right? Wrong. They can. This feature, you can bring legendary Pokemon into the overworld with you and ride them. I know that doesn't sound like a huge deal for certain Pokemon games. They're like, oh yeah, okay. But the Pokemon Ranger series has never done this. You can bring out the legendary Pokemon at any time to just ride them around town. I'm going with Raikou, Entei, and Suicune specifically. There's a number of Pokemon you can do this with. But Raikou, when you bring him out, even if you don't use them for the intended purpose of clearing out obstacles or crossing terrain, because when you exit off of them, they're going to despawn, they're going to run off. But you can draw the specific sign that you get at certain points in the story and summon them whenever you want to ride. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic feature. You can summon these legendary Pokemon at your leisure to cross terrain and to just ride. It's a fantastic addition, and I love the fact Pokemon Ranger did this. In fact, there's a point in the story whenever you're riding around on your Staraptor because you're a flying ranger to travel by air from town to town, guess what? You get access to Latios. You can draw a sign to ride Latios in the air. Do you understand how cool that is? It is a fantastic feature. And I'm more surprised that they never implemented that sooner. It was in Shadows of Almia. You weren't a flying ranger like you are in this game, specialized in flying Pokemon around the region. But in Shadows of Almia, you could capture Staraptor and ride them. Whereas in this case, yeah, you use Staraptor for a little while, but you can summon Latios whenever you want to and ride it around the region. It is such a cool mechanic. The sign feature in this game is an amazing thing. I absolutely love the sign mechanic. It is something that spiced up the gameplay, variety, and just coolness factor for playing the game. Not to mention, again, it has actual story relevance as well. That's an important part of the game's lore, and the lore of the Oblivia region to boot. So I really don't see a problem with this one way or the other. It's just a great feature in addition. The other notable feature as well, in Shadows of Omnia, you had the option to recruit multiple different party Pokemon, or excuse me, well, party Pokemon as well, but you also could recruit partner Pokemon from different side quests and whatnot you could do throughout the game. And they would all stay on partner farm. But in this game, they don't have the optional party Pokemon mechanic where you can't capture a bunch of Pokemon from a side quest and store them at like a farm to use. Instead, you only have one specific partner Pokemon, but the most unique of all, Ukulele Pichu. In the first Pokemon game, depending on whether or not you chose a guy or girl character, you got Plusle or Minun. There really is no difference between the two. They both serve the same purpose of electrocuting Pokemon to make them easier for you to capture. So there was really no difference other than like a color palette swap, we'll say. But in this game, though, no matter which character you choose, you get Ukulele Pichu. The unique thing in the game is Ukulele Pichu, when you bring him out, he plays music notes on his ukulele, and whenever it hits the Pokemon, it increases the gauge that you need to fill up in order to capture the Pokemon. This applies to both regular encounters and boss fights. But the cool thing about it is, Ukulele Pichu levels up alongside you as you're leveling up your Styler in order to have more health for your Styler, for longer loops, that kind of thing. Ukulele Pichu levels up too, because the melodies and whatnot that it plays on its ukulele, the note there, you get more notes. There's an electric attack associated with it that hits the Pokemon. It fills up the gauge more, it fills it up faster, and makes Ukulele Pichu more of a powerhouse to aid you in captures. And it is a fantastic bit that they add to this game, making the partner Pokemon more significant and going back to a main partner Pokemon. Because in Shadows of Omnia, I feel like, while it was cool to have options, I normally just stuck with one partner Pokemon the entire game. I mostly did it just for completion's sake or to see more of the world for the side quests. I didn't really use any of the other ones. In this case, though, by having a mainline relevant story partner Pokemon that levels up alongside you is a fantastic bit. There is so much to cover for gameplay, and it is more amazing to see it done for yourself to actually play the game. It's a lot more fun. So these are like the new gameplay features that Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science offers, and it's just, they are all amazing features. I have no complaints with these either. In all honesty, I really, outside, like, I've talked about the visuals, the music, the new gameplay features, and the story. I really don't have any complaints about this game. The only thing I really have to say, though, is admittedly maybe a bit of pacing issues. Now, I know what I said before, for those of you who remember, that Shadows of Omnia had pacing issues within the story. And while this game is the most consistent game since the first one that has the most relevant story missions that aren't filler, that are relevant to the overall world and whatnot, I will be honest, there are a few parts of missions, not necessarily the missions themselves, but parts of missions that feel like filler. That Latios mission that I mentioned, in order for you to capture Latios to gain access to a fortress that the secret bad guys are controlling to blow up parts of the region unless they get what they want, so to speak, you have to go around 4 different areas of the region in order to find parts of the sign in order to summon Latios to even capture it in the first place. But the 4 different stone tablets that you visit, you encounter Pokemon pinchers at every single turn, and you have to travel either by air or by foot, depending, in order to get there. I feel like at the end, if you would have gotten to the island where Latios' tablet is located, and you would have been ambushed by the Pokemon pinchers there, and then captured Latios without all the backtracking other parts of the region, that would have been sufficient enough, because you have a boss fight, you have an enemy encounter, and you have to actually travel and find the island to begin with. So I feel like that would have been... It's stuff like that. There's not a ton of critiques that I have with this game, but I'd be lying if I said there wasn't things in this game that bugged me a little bit, but not much. It's mostly just some pacing issues here with some of the missions. And honestly, some of the structure of some of the areas bugged me a little bit too, to just kind of waste your time. I know that there's supposed to be obstacles and whatnot prevalent in these games and whatnot, like workout puzzles, but there's a mission where you have to climb a mountain in order to find Articuno and capture it before the Pokemon pinchers wake it up as part of their grand plan. But the base area of the mountain, when you have to climb up a steep summit and you have to go behind pillars that if you get caught in the wind and you're not behind it, it'll knock you all the way back down to the bottom no matter how far up the summit you are. Those things really annoy me in this game here and there. There's also areas like, again, the Electric Mountain where Zapdos is located at. Again, same goal. Capture Zapdos or prevent it from being woken up by the pinchers. There are areas that you're in that electrocute you and take away part of your styler energy. And let's say you got done with like a really bad fight and whatnot, like a random encounter you got captured in that you really didn't want to. And if you're on like 6 styler HP left and you get caught in one of these areas, your game's over, buddy. You're going back to your last save point, so sorry. But the point is, those are the only real nitpicks. It's more so like the environmental hazards that they put in to kind of like waste time, plus some filler parts of some of these missions. Those are really the only issues that I can really think of, because when I was thinking about issues that I had for this review, I was not really many other than that. Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science is just an amazing entry for both the Nintendo DS's library and Pokemon in general. Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science, guys, is a excellent game. When this game came out, I remember playing it so much and having such a good time. The Pokemon Ranger series is one I think is better than a lot of mainline Pokemon trainer games, and Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science is an amazing game. Outside of the few issues that I touched upon, everything else that it sets out to do, from the story to the new gameplay to the regular capture mechanics, the music, the visuals, everything about this game is just fantastic. The only issues I really had were, again, pacing issues and some environmental hazards that don't really need to be in certain areas. But outside of that, this game is amazing. It's very underrated. I really hope this video inspires a few of you guys to go and check out both Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science and the series. This is a series that I wish Nintendo would have continued, but to be honest, if this was the game that the Ranger series was going to go out on, then I'm glad it was this one. I'm glad they did what they did with it, with all the new mechanics and features they brought to it, that this was the final game in the series. So at least we went out on a bang rather than a whimper like a lot of other video game series out there have done. But this is going to be it for this review, guys. This is what I'm glad to finally be wrapping up, because this series of reviews is long since overdue. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you guys think about Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science in this review in the comment section down below. Any games maybe you'd want me to review for future videos and whatnot, or just let me know what you guys think about the Pokemon Ranger series and Guardian Science, because this is a very special series to myself. I know many other people feel the same way I do about, it being very underrated, and hopefully Nintendo brings it back, but I'm just glad we have what we have for the games. But I absolutely recommend you check out Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science. Like I mentioned before, it is very limited availability on the Nintendo DS and certain Nintendo online services on certain older consoles of theirs, so if you can't track it down, I won't recommend emulation, wink wink, but emulation is always an option. You never know. But however you end up playing this game, don't sue me, Nintendo, please. However you play this game, I really hope you guys do enjoy your experience with it. I absolutely recommend this game, and the Pokemon Ranger series in general. To cap it off, guys, my ranking of all 3 games in this series are, number 1, the original Pokemon Ranger, I believe 2004-2006, fantastic game as well. Second favorite, Pokemon Ranger Guardian Science, a great game that expands upon all the previous mechanics in the series, even though I think the first game did a few things better, still a fantastic game. And third, but that doesn't mean it's bad, Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Volmia. While a good game and really good in many areas, it's a game that I feel like struggles in certain areas with pacing and certain mechanics that aren't done as well like the third and first game in the series, but still a good game in its own right, and I recommend you check out all 3. That in mind, though, guys, outside of letting me know what you guys think in the comments section down below, give this video a like if you did enjoy, subscribe to the channel if you guys want to catch more videos in the future, like reviews and whatnot, and if you are a Master Pokemon Ranger, please, tell me how to use this thing, because I honestly have no idea. I've been trying since, like, the last video months back, and I still, to this day, have not gotten it to work, so. And I dropped it anyway, so whatever. But with that in mind, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to check this out. Please check out the Pokemon Ranger series if you haven't, if you're interested, and thank you guys for the support. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay nostalgic, guys.